Like somehow she thought I'd been controlling the money.
Well, Mary's just on point today.
Robyn and Mary's relationship has frustrated me for years. I've seen Robyn just manipulate Mary.
This plural marriage was a big picture for us. It was sacred. It was religious to us.
Is anyone else finding Christine a little too much lately? I've got to say, she's starting to get on my nerves. I get that it's a new relationship, but it's like she's been totally consumed by it. And honestly, it's starting to feel grating. She's laying it on thick. I get the backstory. She spent years feeling completely alone, desperate for attention from a spiritual husband who barely gave her the time of day. Add in her jealousy of the other wife and her own kids being neglected, not to mention a baby daddy who's not exactly winning any parenting awards. Oh, and let's not forget the punishment from her spiritual husband. Withholding intimacy because she wasn't playing nice with the favorite wife. It's like Christine's been starved for affection for so long that now, everything feels like a first-time experience, like she's trying to make up for lost time, but doing it all at once. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how it comes off. But honestly, I think part of the issue is TLC's editing. Yes, Christine's happy and excited, but TLC seems to be stuck on a loop, replaying the same moments over and over. The editing really isn't doing her any favors. At the end of the day, though, she's finally happy. She's loved, appreciated, and it's clear to anyone who's ever been in a bad relationship and found real love, it's a life-changing feeling. So go ahead, Christine, shout your joy from the mountaintops. I honestly don't get why some people can't just celebrate another woman's happiness. Why not just look inside yourself and quietly say, "You've got this, sister." Wishing you all nothing but love and happiness, from my heart to yours. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel reality Nexus X. Just saw TLC's How Do You Build Your Thanksgiving Plate, and had to pause when Kody described Robyn's contribution to the feast. A relish tray with celery, carrots, and radishes. Is he seriously calling that a dish? It's barely a snack. I guess that's been her go-to for years, some cut-up veggies that barely qualify as a side. I mean, while the other wives were slaving away with turkeys, mashed potatoes, rolls, and pies, Robyn's big contribution was a handful of sliced celery. Wow, just wow. It's almost like Kody was like, "Robyn, you can bring the napkins this year. No one trusts your cooking." Honestly, if she tried to make anything more complicated, I can only imagine how it would unfold. Her emotions about family would take over, and it'd be a whole crisis. They'd probably have to miss the entire celebration because Robyn couldn't handle the pressure. So what's the perfect compromise? Slice up some veggies, low effort, low stress, and minimal trauma for Robyn and her kids. Not exactly Thanksgiving gourmet, but at least everyone gets their celery. Sister Wives star Meri throwing Janelle under the bus. Okay, so I just watched the snippet of the conversation between Meri, Kody, and Robyn about the property, and honestly, it seemed like Meri was kind of throwing Janelle under the bus. I was starting to warm up to Meri, but now I'm not so sure. I think this may be the mistake Meri's been wondering about in the mid-season trailer, even though TLC is trying to make it look like she regrets leaving Kody. I want to believe that Meri was just probing to see Kody's reaction and figure out what's going on. She said she thinks both Janelle and Kody are not being totally honest, and maybe she's just trying to assess the situation. At least, I hope that's what she's doing. On the other hand, I don't really believe Meri is intentionally throwing Janelle under the bus. In the past, Janelle trusted Meri to be fair with money as the legal wife, and I think she still does. But honestly, it wouldn't make sense for Meri to blindly trust Janelle after everything that's happened. Janelle hasn't even talked to Meri in over a year, and when she didn't want Meri to have the pond, instead of talking to Meri directly, she went to Kody. So then Kody goes off and creates this whole narrative that Meri is wishy-washy. and can't make up her mind about the trees, just to keep her away from the pond. And that was all for Janelle's benefit. Let's not forget when Meri asked Kody for a loan for the B&B, and Kody told her, maybe later, only for Janelle to jump in and flat out say they weren't going to give her the loan. That's probably why Meri feels like Janelle has way more control over the finances and the whole Coyote Pass situation. Meri gets stuff done, and Janelle meets her for that. Meri has to go through Kody first, but she's not just going to blindly accept what's being told to her. If things aren't adding up, Meri is going to go straight to the source and lay it all out. Honestly, I don't blame her. I'd do the same thing. Check the facts, get the truth, and put it all on the table. Janelle can rewrite history as much as Kody, but Meri has a right to know what's really going on with her money and the land. So I'm standing by Meri here. She's not being gossipy or backstabbing. She's being smart and protecting her interests. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy American Thanksgiving to everyone celebrating today. May your oldest daughters cook you breakfast, and may you indulge in all the French burritos you can handle. May your table overflow with turkeys, real ones and Rice Krispie ones alike. And yes, I know some of these are Christmas traditions, but if Kody can appropriate bar mitzvahs, keeping kosher and Passover, I think breakfast is fair game. Someone on a comment thread yesterday asked if Robyn has ever cried real tears, and I couldn't resist chiming in with some tongue-in-cheek possibilities that might actually bring on some genuine emotion from her. Her kids broke a nativity figurine. She received the wrong shade of purple in her online order. She hit her shin on the corner of a junk box tower. 3 hours of makeup, and her eyebrows are still uneven. Kody left her a bad best customer review. She independently searched manly pecs and six-pack abs. She notices all her Vladimir Kush prints are actually naughty stereograms, you know, those hidden image posters. My sister Wives' closet becomes more successful when my Keltie rents out Robyn's spare room next to her and Tony. Kody admits he's always hated turkey and would rather have catfish. She accidentally uses the kidney knife to butter her toast. When the last remaining tree in Flagstaff is cut down by Kody. On a playback, she hears Janelle call her illogical, Meri calls her weird, and Christine chimes in with right? So weird, so illogical. I mean, just saying. She cannot locate the Brown family island on Google Maps. Feel free to add your own, Reddit. What else could possibly be worthy of a real Robyn tear? Anyone else feel like Meri was really taking advantage of the opportunity to hold and touch Kody during their goodbye? It seemed like she was thinking, this is my moment. He's letting me touch him, so I'm going for it. We all know he hasn't touched her in years, so I couldn't help but feel like she was making the most of this rare moment. Honestly, it made me feel a little upset, though, because his performance just seemed so fake and calculated. On the flip side, I don't think she was trying to get one last hug in on purpose. If anything, she seemed just as uncomfortable by his sudden emotional display as Nathan and Jen were. It felt more like she was comforting a child than trying to hold on to him. But I also see the point that this interpretation can be a bit harsh. Meri's not some biggest loser just hanging on to Kody. She's been independent for a long time. She stuck around because of her personal values and beliefs, not because she was desperate for his attention. After 30 years of marriage, she's probably touched him more than anyone else in the family, so it's not all about longing for physical contact. I think this situation is a textbook example of narcissistic abuse, though. Kody's been neglectful and emotionally abusive to Meri for years, and now that he's hurt her, he has the power to give her a moment of comfort, something he's withheld for so long. It's so gross and unhealthy. After all this time, I really hope Meri's getting therapy to help her heal from all this damage. We've seen Kody yell at the wives, and we've witnessed some epic blow-ups, like the one between him and Janelle. But have we ever seen the women really throw down like Real Housewives style? The scene between Robyn and Meri last week made me wonder about this. I was really hoping Meri would just snap and tell Robyn off, but of course, she kept it classy. Always classy, even when it seemed like Robyn was pushing her buttons. The wives in this culture are basically indoctrinated to keep sweet, no matter how much crap is happening in their lives. Meri's child was upset about being the only one not moving into the Vegas home for Christmas, and Kody's solution? Tell them to slap on a smile and deal with it. Isabel was sad because her dad wasn't there for a scary surgery, and Kody turned it into her problem, saying she should heal quickly so he wouldn't feel guilty. It's just a pattern of no one ever confronting anyone about their issues, so instead, they bottle everything up and end up harboring decades-long resentment. I'm a little late to the show, but caught up through Reddit in flashbacks. I used to think Meri enjoyed sitting back and watching the other two relationships unravel because, well, misery loves company, and she had a front row seat. But now, I'm starting to think that Meri sided with Kody&Robyn to maintain her place in Kody's good graces, even if that meant crumbs of affection or vague promises of affection. There were always conditions, always moving the goalposts. Watching her now, so calm, collected, almost emotionless when filming with them, makes me think Meri's been playing a long game, maybe gray-rocking her way through the whole thing. As for the fights, I don't really see Kody&Janelle's fight as epic. The one he had with Christine over the comments from his friend, Ken, was much worse. Christine definitely didn't deserve the way Kody belittled her, especially when he reduced her emotions to just being PS-driven. That was beyond rude. The wives don't really fight on camera, but they definitely get sly and petty. They take little digs, whether it's Robyn and Christine joking about Meri not pulling her weight because she only has Leon, or other subtle passive-aggressive comments that slip through. It's clear the tension is always there, just simmering beneath the surface. Nancy, the therapist, was a storyline. Why did this family even employ a therapist? A therapist's role is to guide people toward healthier communication, but the Kody-Brown family dynamic was all about survival of the fittest. This screw-your-neighbor tactics were in full force. What could Nancy possibly add to this chaotic mess of a family? She was part of the storyline until she made the mistake of saying that Robyn liked drama. And then, of course, Kody shut that down, saying he didn't want to be criticized. That was pretty much the end of her usefulness, at least on the show. It's clear that most of the family wasn't really serious about applying therapy to their lives. The way they interpreted it was more like a watered-down version, picking up certain terms from therapy, then using those terms as weapons against each other. Instead of using therapy as a tool for growth, they weaponized it to justify their own behavior and throw shade at each other. Nancy was essentially a tool to help the show present the Browns as more normal than they really are. She was there to tell us that while their marriage was unconventional, they still faced the same relationship issues that any family would face. KLC tried to soften our views by setting up Nancy as a scapegoat, someone to blame when things inevitably went south for the family. The implication was that she didn't do her job well enough to prevent the inevitable drama. There are two types of people who go to therapy: those who genuinely want to improve and grow, and those who are just seeking confirmation that they're right and have nothing to change. Kody definitely falls into the second category. He's made it clear he doesn't believe he's the problem, and he has no real desire to change anything. For him, therapy was just a way to reaffirm that everyone else was the issue. I'm rewatching the pilot episode, and wow, they seem so well-adjusted and happy. It's crazy to see them all appear so supportive of each other and content with their life. Of course, we now know that there was a lot going on behind the scenes, like Janelle leaving before, and it's such a contrast from what we see now. I'm just in shock at how happy they all looked back then. Has anyone else gone back and watched those early episodes? I watched from the beginning too, and it's almost hard to believe it's the same family. Like you said, now that we know more about the dark stuff happening behind the scenes, it's clear the reality doesn't line up with the wholesome image they initially tried to portray. The family breakdown is sad, but if we're looking for a silver lining, the liberation of the OG3 and their children is definitely a positive outcome from this show. I think it was easier for them to push their problems aside in the early days because their lives were so full with kids. When you're a parent, your children come first, and there are plenty of unhappy couples who stay together for the sake of their kids. When I rewatched the earlier seasons, it was easier to see that the problems that ultimately led to the family's collapse were always lurking beneath the surface. Sure, Robyn amplified a lot of the insecurities and issues, but I think those were there before she even entered the picture. It's also easier to see through the act Kody put on, trying to be the ever-available dad to all his kids. I remember one scene where he laid down on the bed while Christine was reading the kids a bedtime story. We know that wasn't a regular thing, and it was clearly part of the image they were trying to project, a seemingly perfect family meant to counter the negative perceptions people had about polygamy. They definitely looked like a different family back then, but I think their happiness was really only as deep as how many children they had in the home at the time. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.